Vlog 7 for Love is on each and every Tuesday at 10/9 Central.
Yes. Before we start, we want to give a shout out to the cast and crew, writers, directors, producers, everybody involved in this great show on getting a season 2.
It is coming 2019. I cannot wait. Like, I knew it was going to happen. But I think we were all like, okay, when are we going to get the memo that, season 2 is coming out? So they all posted it, like all the actors, and Mara posted it, and it was like, thank you guys. No, thank you, Mara, for being so brave to write this show when we needed this. We needed to see that love was cool. So in a world full of reality shows and ratchet and side chicks, this show was so needed. So I'm so glad a season 2 is coming, and I cannot wait to see more stories unfold that tell our stories. So I'm really excited.
Yes. And so let's get to it. Oh, wait. I'm Lakiesha. I guess because we just I'm thinking we've been doing this for a little bit, so I'm hoping people know, but for those who don't know, I am Lakiesha, and you can connect with me on Instagram at Lakiesha LPC.
And I am Chanel, and you can connect with me on Instagram at _.
Yes. As well as connect with our Instagram page for the vlog series.
Absolutely.
So Love is vlog series _ on Instagram.
Yes, make sure you hit that follow button, and we will follow back. So all of that, like, comment, share, all of that good stuff.
Yes, please do. So we are in episode 7, and finally we're realizing it's a month now. Because in TV world, the days be going on and on.
Forever. And then it's hard in this show too, because they live in Los Angeles, so we can't really tell the seasonal change.
That's true.
As well. So it's always sunny in, Southern California. So it's just what's the time period? I don't see any calendars or anything, so I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah. But so we know it's around February.
Yes, so we do know that.
The title of the show, this episode is called No Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And so we know it's cool in February, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, in California.
I don't know. No, we went to California in February, and it was kind of nice. So,
it was hot. It was hot.
That's true. I don't know winter stuff, so
But this episode starts off with Yasir at an interview for a position. And, the guy is just asking him, about different books written by Caucasian authors, but Yasir is nah. I'm not
very
reading
pro-black.
I don't read that. And the gentleman is well, thank you for coming out today.
Don't call us,
Right, because we ain't gonna call you. And it shows Yasir walking out, but in the midst of it, we have the older Yasir in the background, just talking about how he needs to feel like a man and needs Nuri to feel that he is that man. And one of those ways is getting the job. And so, he makes up in his mind, well, I got to go back in there and get this job. And that's literally what he said, I'm going to get this job, go back in there and get this job. It wasn't, no, I'm trying to go get this job, or, so you even think of the power of words.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his motivation and determination to be you know what? Let me go back in here and connect with this man on some kind of level because this job is for me.
Exactly. Yes, for me. Absolutely. And he went in there with conviction. And he made a connection with the guy. So he's well, I'm trying to stop smoking, and the guy, the interviewer, was also trying to stop smoking, maybe not doing a good job. But he was you know what? I need an accountability partner. We can make this work. So I'm glad that he went back, because he would have not made that connection, and he would have still been out here not feeling less than a man, because he wasn't working.
Yes, and it's funny because even during their conversation, I felt like, I wonder, was the manager testing him? Like, you know, when he was like, well, I got a Lucy, and I guess Lucy was like short for like a cigarette.
Yeah, it's like a single cigarette.
Okay. Like in the back, like, you know, she would go into the back and talk, and, you know, Yasir was like, nah, man, like, you know, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, was he getting tested?
I'm glad. Maybe.
And will that, you know what I mean?
Maybe that was a test from God. Because, I mean, he just got done with Ramadan. So to test to see if his strength was where it needed to be. And to say, you know, he was doing that for his love for Nuri. For Nuri. Because Nuri, he was doing it, stop smoking for her.
Yeah.
So to get this job for her, well, more so for him too, but for her too. And then to stop smoking for her. So maybe that was definitely like a test. Maybe from a higher power, a test.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I could see that. Because God sure know how to find ways to test them.
He will use you. Use anybody to make sure you getting this test, child.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now he's back at the house with Nuri, and brings her in this tray of food with like flowers and a gift on there. Yeah. And, you know, like before he comes in, like she put her hands out, like,
I was like,
like she was just like, and finish whatever she had to finish on her computer. And, you know, he said, well, can you come over here and sit down? And they sit down, and he said, what did he say to her?
He was like saying all these sweet things, but the most prominent thing that stuck out was he told her that she was his blessing. I love that. I was just like, and the way he looks at her and told her that.
Their chemistry, like just side note, the chemistry of the actors are like bomb.
It is very bomb. It really is. And a salute to Will Catlett again. I'm a big fan of his. And I feel like anything that he's on, he's very dynamic about the role. So you will see that if you watch Black Lightning. Like he definitely embodies his character. If you watch first on YouTube, like I totally believed that they were a couple. Like I was really like, and now on Love Is, like I totally believe in this, what they have going on. So that salute to him. He's a very, very dynamic actor. And, you know, salute to everybody on the show.
Yes, of course. So yes, he says that she is his blessing. And, you know, he just wants to show her it. And then he slides, because, you know, so he gave her the gift, which was a book about dramatic writing and just, I guess, like just tips and things to help her get better within her writing. And he wrote a little note in there that was just like, what, writers continue to be great or something something to that effect.
I have my glasses
just,
on.
Just helping her get to the next level. And so that book signified, okay, you know, this will help you to continue to live out your dream and your vision and things like that. But then slid in there about him getting a job, how he used it with his 40%.
Yeah, he did say that. And she was like, wait a minute.
Right, stood up home and everything, like, wait, like a job, like an employee, who get a paycheck.
Be like, money coming in, okay, like about time, like.
And I love the fact, right? She didn't say like finally
she did.
Or anything like that. How I know sometimes, right, women, like we can be like, well, it's about time, you know, but it was just like, I'm so excited.
She was genuinely proud of him and excited for him. And knowing that, you know, she has this like powerful, like very important job and he's just working at a bookstore, but she didn't make it seem like it was something less than. But she was just genuinely proud of him that he finally he got a win under his belt.
Yes, got the W. No more L.
There's a lot of L's in episode 1 through 6. Like, he couldn't take no more. So I'm glad episode 7 he got a win finally.
And so, you know, they just celebrate with that, and then now it goes off to show Yasir is at the bookstore, shelving the books.
He was doing everything.
Yeah, he was working, honey.
Like, is this Barnes and Noble? Like, he's just doing everything.
He was working. And then on the other end, it shows Nuri and her mom coming into her home with guys bringing this sofa that she just purchased and like, well, a whole living room set, really. Like,
it was really nice.
Right. Bringing it in and things like that. And then Yasir comes through the door with his key.
Right.
Yasir. So Carol is Nuri's mom character. So shouts out to Tammy. Like, she's a really
she's
awesome actress. So this is their first time meeting each other. And, you know, Nuri gets something like, well, Mom, this is Yasir, this is Mommy. Yes, and then Carol was like, I don't believe in handshakes. Like, you can't tell, like, the energy or something. Like, you can't really.
Yeah, I need, or to learn about you or something in that manner.
So she gives him a hug.
Yeah.
And, she was like, okay, good energy.
Yeah.
That's what she said. So she's like, good energy.
Yeah.
So immediately I was like, okay, they're going to hit it off. I think Mom likes him, you know.
I thought the same thing. Too. We kind of have to backtrack a little bit because Mom is very like she's very whimsical, I'll say. So she believes in like zodiacs and energies and stuff like that. So to preface that, going into this holiday episode, that I already knew that she was gonna come off and be like, Valentine's Day is very important. Like, this means a lot. So I already knew, and then once they really started to talk about it, where she was like, okay, so what y'all doing for Valentine's Day? And he was like, yeah, I don't
celebrate that. Like, I don't need a day to tell me to show you how much I love you.
Exactly. And Mom, Carol, immediately looks at Nuri like, you going? Like, you listen to that? Because I know my child. And her mom is very dominant. So Mom was like, so what you think? Like,
and even in that, like, because it was a conversation about the couch that Nuri had just purchased because it was pink, and you know, y'all see. Like, I think it would go better in your office because it's more creative, you know, and that's your office for you to be creative, and you bring the other couch out here because it's neutral or whatever. And he was like, you know, in your space, and then Carol jumped in and be like, well, this is her space too.
This whole house,
literally. So I kind of felt like, ooh, they playing like, who got a little more strength, like,
who's really the boss of pulling those strings of Nuri? Like, who's about to do this? So and so then they continue like this slight little banter, and then at one point too, I think after Carol said like, well, you know, this is all her space, and she puts her arm like on the top of the couch, and then but Nuri is like sitting on the armrest of the couch that Yasir is sitting in. He's like, well, you know, like, I was just like, it's over here. That's me.
All right, brother.
So that was a really interesting scene because you don't see that dynamic on TV a lot. Like, you'll see like once people are married, you see that in-law type of relationship, but not like when you're still in the relationship, like dating stage. You don't really see it a lot. But that's real. I mean, especially if you have dominant parents. I do have a dominant parent that's, you know, she does everything for me. I love my mom. But she's very vocal about who I date. Not necessarily to their face like Carol is to Yasir, but she'll definitely tell me like, I don't like him, or he needs to do this. Or she's vocal. So you have that back and forth like, okay, who do I listen to? Do I listen to my mom? She knows me my whole life. Or do I listen to him because I really love him, blah, blah, blah. So that was an interesting dynamic to see on a scripted show.
It is. And then even too, I lost my train of thought.
But that was, I mean, it was good to see that part. And then I felt like Nuri is so indecisive herself, where it's just like she needs that person to be that voice for her because she's just so like carefree.
She is.
I'm glad that she has those two strong people, but in a sense, like, she's going to have to choose, and that's how relationships work. Like, now I have to like leave the nest. This is like my new family to kind of grow up, and I feel like she is doing that. Like at the beginning, like episode 1, she was like, she's a woman, she has all these things, but I feel like she's growing up as we watch this show. Like, she's maturing before our eyes as well.
That's so true.
So it's good to see her progress through that herself. But then it was funny because when they were done talking, like, Yasir is leaving, and then he hugs Carol again.
Yes.
You're right. Like, I do get your energy from this. Like, whatever he said to her. But I was like, he better say that and let me know, like, this me. Like,
yes.
So I like that he put it back. Because I think some men do feel like they have to kind of really not be themselves in front of the mom or the parents. But for him to still be him and, you know, move how he moves in front of her mother, was really good. And I think as a mom myself, like as a mom, I would want somebody who's content and firm in who they are for my child.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah. It came back to me though, because I think this is a good conversation to be had on like how much information do you share with like your parents about the relationship?
Yeah, because Carol
like, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And granted, you can see that Nuri and Carol's relationship is like this. They are literally best friends.
Yeah,
you know, and she made mention like I share everything with mom, but mom like
right,
you tell them all of this.
Her mama knew all the details,
and I guess we should have known that from the beginning when Nuri was in the bed with Will,
and mom walks
in and just sit down on the bed and like start talking like ain't nothing.
I cannot with Carol. My mom is not like Carol. She knows she don't take that far. Because Carol is, I would have been just like Nuri, like Leo Key, because you tripping, like you can't come to my house like that. But no, that's a good conversation to have. For me personally, I tell my mom what I want her to know.
Do you tell her like the good version? I don't want to say the good version, but like the mom version.
Yeah, well, I definitely will make it PG.
Like
because
more
for me, like in my mind, like, and I'm a baby in my family too. So for me, it's just like I don't want my mom knowing what I do. Like behind closed doors, that's weird. Like she don't need to know my like sex life history or anything like that. But I tell her what I want her to know that's PG to get her advice that I know she could give me. So if it's something where it's like I'll take her advice. But if it's something like a disagreement that he and I have had, like first I'm going to have that conversation with him, and then I'll relay the message, whatever solution we come up with, then I'll share that with my mom. But I'm not going to unload problems on her first without speaking to that person. Or I'm like I said, I'm not gonna tell her about my sex life because that's just weird to me to have that conversation with my mom. What else would I would tell her? I mean, I would obviously tell her like good things, like he did this and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the extent. I'm with my mom or with anybody, like even with my friends. So like when my relationship is concerned, like I'm pretty private until I want you to know what's going on. Yeah. So
yeah, and because I always think of when we share like the not so good things with like whether it's friends or family, sometimes they hold on to that, and like even if you've gotten past that situation, and you may not have shared it with them, like I'm past that right now, like they still hold on. Some still hold on to that not so good thing you share.
That's
and now it paints the person in a not so good light. So I feel like it's a fine line with what you share, especially about a relationship.
It is. And then too many like opinions and factors go into it, have you thinking or second guessing things that you don't necessarily need to second guess or really think about, because you have all of these outlying like people on the outside looking in having commentary about what you're doing in your relationship.
Definitely.
So
yeah. So now it shuts also after they figure out like Yasir don't celebrate Valentine's Day, like he don't need that holiday, but Nuri made a comment like, I'm okay with whatever he's okay with. So again, you see her, right? Like giving up a piece of her for the relationship. That's another good question to think, like, would you be willing to do that for your relationship? Now, I did a poll with this kind of question on my personal Instagram, so if you want to follow me there, at The Real Chanel. But it was for our vlog and for the show. But I was asking a question like, is Valentine's Day an important holiday or an important day in your relationship? And we got a lot of like talk back. So a lot of people were just like, no, it's not. Like, Valentine's Day is a day. Like, you need to show somebody you love them like every day, not just on Valentine's Day. Now, there were a few ladies in particular that was like, yes, Valentine's Day is important and you shouldn't just be like bypass that. But most of the men, and there were a lot of like married women who was like, no, like it doesn't matter. Like, I need you to show me you love me every single day. But for the men, for the most part, they were all like, no, like it's not important. I think it would be interesting to have known like the age group too.
Yeah, from what I can guess, like I want to say it was like 25 to 35.
Okay.
If I can guess the age range. It was equal, men and women, but like I said, most of the single women was like, yes, it's important. Yeah. Most of the married women were like, no, it doesn't matter. And then all of the guys
whether single or not,
right?
It don't matter.
Single men, it was just like, no, it don't matter. So,
well, I ask you, does Valentine's Day matter?
I will say, see, for me, I feel like yes and no. And here's why. So I feel like it doesn't matter because, I need you to have the same energy every day. Like, I need you to show me
the same energy
every day. I need you to show me love me every single day. However, I will say not to just completely like bypass Valentine's Day because of what it is. Like, that's still another day that you said you were going to show me that you love me, whether this is this fictional, like, corporate holiday, but it's still a day. Yeah. So let's not, like, pretend like it's not a day. I will say I wouldn't recommend people, like, going broke or just going above and out of their means to celebrate this day and spend money that you really don't have. But show your person you love them however that is that you all normally show each other that you love each other. So I'm a yes and no. I would be salty if I'm with somebody and they're like, yeah, we're not celebrating it. Okay, but what we doing though? Because it is another day. So don't say we're not going to do absolutely nothing. That doesn't work. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And then even too, like if we think of Yasir, if he's like, well, I show you I love you every day. Well, but then okay, I'm thinking about it. If he's like, well, I cook all the time for you, or I like encourage you, like I'm showing you I love you.
Sure.
So I don't need this day to have me do something like over the top just because I'm giving this to you every day.
Right. So yeah, I totally get that. Like you are doing it, but and we'll get there. But you know, at the end of the show, he did recognize that that's important to recognize that not only because it is a day, you need to show her that you love her this day too, but because she you know, he knew her and she felt some type of way by him not celebrating that day. So I'm glad he came to his senses.
Yes, and so you know now Nuri is at work. And they have like, you know, all decked out in Valentine's
work
Day decor at work, and you know she's in the room, and Norman and the crew, you know, they were just talking about Valentine's Day or something, and then she just was like, well, we're not celebrating it, and then you know, like
they started clowning her.
Like she was saying it almost as if it was her views, but we knew it was really Yasir's views.
Oh yeah,
and you know the guys was just like, this is some good game we running on you. Like, that's A-grade type of game.
Ooh, clown-ting her.
Yes, they did.
They was
you want to
giving it to her, which, I mean, they had a point because it was odd because they knew it didn't sound like her. Like, that was not her saying those things. It was totally him. Like, she had completely, like, let him, and I this is so sidebar, but I hope they discuss that. Like, losing yourself in a relationship, because I feel like that's what this is coming to. Like she had completely like taken on his views and you know was saying verbatim stuff that he said about the holiday when that was not who she is. So that'll be an exciting topic if they discuss that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So they're just clowning her, just like you know you don't believe that. So
bye. Like,
you know, but she get quiet as she sips her coffee or whatever,
or tea or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I was like, girl. And then was that the same day? And then that same day, like Norman is walking around
with some roses.
With the roses. And I thought that was sweet of Norman because he's totally like a jerk. I was trying to think of a non-bad word to say, but a jerk.
But shout out to Khadijah.
Yes, I love you. Yes, and I like posted like congratulations because he posted that they were renewed on season 2. And he liked my comment, so I'm like, hey, you know that's my boo from a different world. So I'm like, I'm a forever Dwayne Wayne like lover. So yes, but that was so sweet that he was walking around with the roses and making sure that his staff felt the love. I totally get that because working in the education setting, Valentine's Day is huge in schools. Like, I definitely, and I'm typically single. That's neither here nor there. But my classroom makes me feel so special. Like the kids are are just great. Like, I always have like this bag, and they want to bring me like chocolates and roses. So it's definitely a good time.
And it's funny, so because I provide therapy in the schools, and so I see kids in the school. When Valentine's Day was there, kids knocking on my door, Miss Lakiesha, I'm like. And for me, it didn't register because I'm just like, they do that for the teachers, like, and principals, like, girls, I was like,
that has to be like the number one after Halloween. The number one holiday in schools is probably Halloween then Valentine's Day because of the candy. So they really get a kick out of it. So that's what Norman was doing. It felt very much like a school. Like, he's passing around the roses. They're all passing around treats and stuff. So he gives Angela one, and
she got like some bouquets with like a little balloon and something.
I was trying to read the cards. I'm like, did she send this to herself?
You know what? Right. I was like, I should have so I had watched the episode twice to like go back and catch it, but I don't think I caught it fast enough. But it was just like, Happy Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I felt like it was like, will you meet me after something? So it made me think about the guy.
Okay. I was out, girl. I had my glasses on, so I was like, I can't even see what this said. But that probably is.
That's what I was thinking.
Because at first I'm like, she sent that to herself.
I hear that too. I was right. She sent that to herself. I was thinking
that. So bogus, but I was like, she sent that to herself.
She wasn't in the office that day either when they were clowning her.
She wasn't. No, she
called in
sick.
Yep. So Valentine's Day happened.
There was the
next
day. Yep.
Yeah. Because he was like, because remember Norman was like, if Angela was here, she'll tell you about yourself too.
Yeah. Angela would have probably given it to her. That's another one of her dominant voices that she has in her circle. Yeah. But that was funny. So he gives Angela a rose, and then he's gonna give Nuri one, and he's like, oh, but you say you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, but then he's looking at her face. He's like, I'm gonna give you two. You're looking a little sad. But then his wife comes in and she's geeked. Like, so geeked. And it was funny because that brought it back to like showing love on this one day, because in the prior episodes, like, Norman was like, he was a conversation away from being divorced. He said,
how many times have he been married for?
Yes. So I was just like, that goes to show that pendulum of Valentine's Day can be for some people just as one day where you totally show this person you love them, but all the other 364 days in a year, you just not showing it at all. So that was funny that they showed that, because she comes in geeky, like, everybody come outside, let me see what I got for my wife, like, it's a big thing, so they all go outside, and he's gotten her a car, and they're playing like all these cool 90s old school songs.
Boys to Men.
Yes, they're dancing, and everybody's looking so happy, looking all happy at them, and Nuri is just like,
looking at her roses and like, okay,
like, it could be me, but I told his hair that I'm okay with this when I'm really not. So speak up, girl. You got to. Yeah. So
unfortunately, she was able to talk to Angela.
Yeah.
And the one cool thing that I love is that, again, Angela is that friend. She's not demeaning in how she even talks to Nuri.
Yeah.
But is like holding her accountable. Like, well, if this is really how you feel, you gotta say something.
Yes.
You can't just not, just go with the flow, but yet you don't really want to go with the flow.
Right. Yep.
Like, that don't make sense. And then she folded up the little Valentine's Day card she had. She was like, even though it's just a day for a minute, it made me feel, and I'm taking high, because she made a paper airplane out of the card and threw it out the window, and it just soared.
Yeah, I love that. Was a good. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, and that's how love should feel. Like, but this day needs to make me feel like special too, for what it is.
Yeah, especially if this is what you believe, right?
Right.
So I think that's where we're talking about, sacrificing a little bit of ourselves for this other person.
Yep.
You believe in this day, or you love and want to celebrate this day. I will celebrate it with you.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where that compromise comes in. So you can't have a functioning good relationship without having that compromise. And that's why I'm like, I wish Nuri would have spoken up to say how she actually felt in that instance. So,
but I think too, she probably was thinking, this is a relationship, And in order for this to work, I have to give of myself at some moments. And so maybe she's thinking in return, you know, he'll give a little bit of him. And, you know, and I think so because she probably sees it, you know, y'all see her cooking and just being really supportive and all of those things.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, like, maybe she was just like, well, he not really working, like, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so I can't expect him to buy X, Y, and Z.
It comes with having some type of money stream. You gotta buy gifts and stuff, so.
Yeah, and so now they're back at Nuri's house because, too, Nuri's family tradition is they have, like, a single woman's day with her mom, her grandmother, and her aunt.
Yeah, I love the supporting cast here. Like,
oh my gosh, these women are so amazing.
Yeah.
And so Yasir is helping her put up the decorations and things like that for her get together. And he's like, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna head on over and leave to my place.
Yeah, she like
with Ruby.
And when he said that, I was like, yo, play. I was just like, oh, here we go again. I was like, come on, like, out of all days, you like, I'm finna go to Ruby house today. Like, he could have just been like, I'm going to Sean, I'm going somewhere else, but not there. Yeah, so that, I was just like, come on, I'm rooting for you now. Like,
you said, you messing up.
You messing up. Like, what is it going on?
And he like, you know, come on now, don't do that. Like,
right.
And she like, but what?
Right, because he knew she was about to go off the deep end, because I was right with her. Like, what are you doing?
And he's like, you know, we're just roommates. He's like, you know, and this day is for you and your family. Like, you know, I don't celebrate, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, you know, well, I'll see you tomorrow. You know, and he left, getting to Ruby's house. You know, Ruby is there cleaning out the refrigerator and things like that. So her and Yah are just talking a little bit. And he shared that he had gotten a job, and she's like, oh, great, you know, good for you, and all of that. But then it shows Ruby in her room reading a book, and Yah coming in, knocking, and he's like, hey, can we, you know, he's like, what's up? And she's like, nothing, we're good, we're good. You know, he's like, no, he's like, let's just put it all out there.
And they put it out there, baby. I was, and that the conversation that they had was so necessary. And I know in vlogs past where I was just like, I don't like Ruby, but this episode made me empathetic towards her because I've totally been Ruby. I've been her. I've had that same conversation with people. And she said something that was very powerful where she was just like, you know, I'm the loser. Because to be real, like, you are about to go win with somebody else.
She was like, what, you quit smoking, you done got a job.
Like, just completely, like, went left. And he said something, too, like, well, you hadn't touched me in forever. So it was like, you have to be accountable for what you've caused. And it definitely made me think about when I had to hold myself accountable for relationships not working. And I've totally been in that situation where not necessarily like not supporting a man, but not necessarily supporting myself, and kind of being like having low self-esteem in my own relationship and being like self-pitying and things like that, where it did kind of drive him away. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you expect somebody else to love you? It doesn't work like that.
And you're going to be wanting something that they can't give.
Absolutely. So to see that piece in my own relationships, but then to see the other piece where it was like I was here, like shooting with you in the gym every day. Like I supported you and you go off and now you can do all of this. Like I see that. So I felt it. That whole scene, I had to watch it like a couple times. I kept going back.
That was so powerful. And when she made the comment like, I was the one that got you ready. And I said, how many of us have felt that, right? Woo! But it's when we see them doing good or whatever we define good
perceiving,
because they weren't doing those things with us, and now they're doing this for the next woman they're with, and in our heads we sitting there, but I was the one that did this. Or you see the women who hold on to men, even though the relationship, it's like it's time for it to go its separate way, but they're like, I've invested so much time. I'm not going to lose him because I'm creating this man. I've put in these years.
So give it to somebody else like
that's going to be able to do it in 5 months.
Right. Swipe right in and you have this finished product of a man. But that's true. But then you have to think, I mean, timing is everything. And timing, I'm a firm believer in timing, especially in relationships. Because while we were together, like, I may not have been in that space. And it takes experience and people's souls to pull that out of you. So he would have probably never given that to her because they weren't meant to be. That timing was not theirs to share in that moment. But just the realness of it, however, you know, I was definitely like, I feel all of this. I feel his end where he was like, dude, you wasn't giving me what I needed either. So it's not, don't make it seem like it's just me. Like, I'm just this bad person. Then on the flip side, it was her, like, well, in her mind, like, perspective is always everything. So in her mind, she felt like, you know, I carried you here. Like, I came here, we came here together, and I've taken care of you and everything. So I was just like, this is so real. It was so real. And then she also said, like, every time I'm like unraveling you, here you come. And he does. I mentioned that on social media. I was like, what is it? Like, I feel like every time, like, he comes at the worst possible moment. Like, he stopped by, she got the lipo, here he is, and then she's like confused. So that is confusing as a woman to be like, out of all days, you come here
on Valentine's
Day? Like, what? Like, no, that is very confusing. I feel like I get it. She was like, I gave you this time. Like, I told you we made this deal. But for me, like, man, once the door is closed, you got to shut that door. Like, we can't keep opening it and closing it. Like our grandmas used to say, you either in or you out. Like, you can't keep going back and forth through this door. Because it leads to emotions rising back up and just this confusion. So I hope this is the last encounter with Ruby. Like on our favorite show, Insecure, like, we gotta be done. We got this closure. They had this conversation. This door needs to be closed, and they need to be done. Because this is confusing. And every episode I'm gonna feel more and more on Ruby's side. Like, he keep doing this. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, his intentions probably are clear, but just leave it alone. Like, you gotta leave it alone. So yeah, I'm really gonna hope that was the last Ruby encounter.
I feel like it's not.
I feel like it's not either, but I hope it is, because I'm just like, come, leave that girl alone. Like, leave her alone. Leave her alone. So yeah. Yes.
Well, we shall definitely see.
I'm excited.
You know, and even in the midst of that, you know, Ruby is like, well, I just don't need to see your face for like an hour. Like, you just need to go. So he left and he had that insomnia, you know, with his headphones on and just reading. And here goes his bestie. His bestie, Sean comes.
He's so cute. Right. Lord, I'm like, first of all, why are you there, Sean? Like, you gotta boo.
Yes, but he's like, so what you doing here? And he's like, you know, I don't celebrate or whatever. And he's like, okay. And he asked Sean, like, what he doing here? He's like, well, you know, my boo wanted some chocolate cake. Right. So I'm here for that or whatever. But then they just start going into the conversation. And the thing I love about Sean, though, like, he gives it to him real.
He does.
Like, real.
Yeah, he does.
And because he knows his friend. So he's like, well, even if you try and tell me it's otherwise, like, I know you. Like, this is what you feel. So when he talked about, like, the Valentine's Day and why he don't celebrate, he's like, it's just because you too broke to, like, buy a car. Right. Like, so you believe in all of that. Like, no. Like, you can't do that. Right. You can't be that way.
Yep. And it's so funny how Sean, like, gives it to him for his relationship, but his own relationship is like,
that is true. Because he called himself an expert in relationships. Yeah,
right. Where his is a hot mess, like, picking up people on AIM.
Oh, God.
But that was a good talk that he had with him, and I'm glad Sean put it that way, where it was like, well, if you don't do this, like, somebody else will.
Gonna be.
So it was just like, you better recognize.
And he get, like, Sean is that friend that's like, he comes in, like, the right time, every time.
Yep, at the right time, he does.
With that word.
He does. On every episode. Well, on the one episode, he was like, leave her alone. Like, I was just like, oh, no, Sean, that was bad. Don't tell me that. So I'm glad he listened to good because, you know, Yasir doesn't have any family or anything out there. Like, Sean is his family at this point.
Yeah. And, you know, and he even referred to Nuri as a rebound because he's like, well, why haven't I met her yet? Your bestie. And he was like, bestie?
Right.
What is that?
We're not going to say that.
Best friend.
Yeah.
But I was just like, guys don't call each other best friends.
No, they don't.
Because Yasir was like, you're either my NIGGA
right.
or my homeboy.
Right, my homeboy.
And I was like,
yeah, no, it's not
this is my best friend.
No, I don't think boys. I don't think guys do that at all. Like they either be like my bro or like my guy. Like I've never heard a grown man say my best friend.
And I wonder where does it go wrong? Because my son is 10 and he be like, yeah, these two my best friends.
Oh yeah, JR
like,
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wonder where does it.
Maybe like high school. Cause I feel like that's the age where it's just like you my bro, like my homie, like something like that. But yeah, my son is 9 and he's totally like that's my BFF. Like,
my bestie.
But I think in high school that the tables turn where it's just like yeah, my guy, like hey, so.
But yeah, but Sean was just saying like how he hasn't even met Nuri.
Yeah.
Like I guess officially, because y'all should trying to be like, you've seen her.
Yeah.
He's like, bruh, that was probably like a year ago.
Right. And that wasn't a real meeting. Like, I was talking to her.
Right. Like I liked her.
Right. Lord.
So, you know, and he was like, it's like as if I didn't introduce you to Mia, and I'm assuming that's his daughter.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And he was like, man, don't even do that. Like, why are you saying that? He's like, well, she is your baby. And so after their conversation and insomnia, you know, that has Yasir thinking. Mm-hmm. Oh, but before that, Nuri is at her house and her mom, her grandmother, her aunt has showed up.
Yeah.
And you know, man, Auntie through the door is grilling her off the back. So one, Mama done went and shared all of the business with Auntie.
Lord.
And you know, at first, Grandma, I thought was like, you know, Grandma was pretty chill for a while.
Yeah.
Like, you know, until she found out like he had a key.
Yep.
Yeah, and like being there a lot.
Yep.
And she's just like, hey, you know,
don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't need to be doing that. And you know, Auntie is just like, well, we're trying to just protect you, and you know, because he's playing you and things like that. And so again, I was like, this is like the second or third time somebody has said that to her, but thankfully, you know, she's not holding on to it to be wait a minute, is he?
Yep. Which I'm glad because I mean, you do start to feel some type of way when you hear from like close family, like your mom, your aunts, and your grandma. Yeah. So it's just like I'm glad she didn't like fall into it. But then when you find out like all them are singles, like girl, why? Shut up. Like what you're not gonna tell me is what to do with my relationship when you don't got nobody. And that's the thing with relationships. And those of you who are in relationships, like and those of you who are single too, like be very careful who you get advice from, because not everybody has the same motives or, you know, heart as you do. And it's hard to listen to somebody who is single, like me. I write for my blog, Singles in the City, and I only give my experience. Like, I never tell people, like, what to do. I'm going to show you what I did, and you can either be like, yeah, I did that too, I don't do that no more, or like, wow, I never looked at it that way. But I'm definitely not somebody where I'm like, well, you should do X, Y, and Z in your relationship because I'm single. Like, that doesn't even make sense. So,
and it's funny because even when I've worked with couples in couples therapy, albeit I'm not married, I try and grab their individual experiences and they have to figure out how to merge the two, but it's more I'm working on the self with the individual. So even in that, like, I'm not giving advice.
I know that's right. So yeah, her auntie was doing the most, and I was just like, girl, bye. And I'm glad the grandma like spoke up, like, you know what, like, I'm tired of this, like, this lame singles Valentine's Day. Like, I can be at home in my bed watching Wheel of Fortune. That's such a 90s thing. Like, Wheel of Fortune used to be lit. She was like, yeah, like, I'm so tired of doing this. Like, girl, you should be spending this with your man, like, not here with us old ladies, like, big single spinsters.
Yes. So I was glad that Nuri spoke up. And then even when she tried to backtrack and be like, I'm sorry, Grandma, I just had too much champagne. And then Grandma was like, no, don't you ever make an excuse for how you really feel.
Exactly. Ooh,
so again, I think that kind of helped her, I feel like gave her like that extra boost to be like, it's okay to share how I really feel about a situation.
Yep.
You know,
that was good, and that was such like grandma advice. Like, no, baby, like, no, you good. Like, but I'm finna get out of here and go watch.
And go watch it. So I'm out. Peace out.
Right.
But the thing is, and we forgot to talk about, after Yasir and stuff met Nuri's mom, and he showed them that night, and they were she was like reading something and he was reading a book, and she was like, well, what are you reading? And he was like, oh, I'm reading how the French colonized and blah blah blah. And then, you know, she was like, wait, okay. And then older Nuri, shout out to Wendy. Like, I love Wendy. She's such a great actress. I loved her on Army Wives. But she talked about like how with Yasir, she felt she didn't measure up. Almost she didn't feel that good enough.
Wow.
And she was talking about how, like, even with all these accolades, her own home, being a successful writer, right? Like, having all of this stuff, like, she felt like kind of small compared to him because of his intelligence. Like, granted, he didn't have all of this grandiose thing, but the inside stuff he had was so much more richer.
Yeah, rich.
Than what, you know what I mean? What you can visually see for her of what she had.
I love that, and we definitely glazed over that, but that's beautiful. And then on the flip side, we glazed over also where Nuri had the contractors come to the house, and older Yasir is explaining, like, you know, I felt like a kid. Like, I felt like a child watching my parents make all of these decisions. Like, I did not feel like the man that I was. So them both battling these inner demons of how they feel about each other.
Because she was real. Budgeting like the checkbook and things like that.
No
she was
idea.
like, oh, I'm in the black. He was like, what does it mean if you're in the red? She's like, oh, that means, like, you know, she had her student loans on there, and then her house payment. She was like, and after 2 more months, like, my student loans will be done.
I was like, she's tight. I was like, on the real, like, girl.
Yes, so, and I love that you said that, right? That balance of how both people feel in a relationship.
Absolutely.
And they don't share their insecurities, but yet they try to figure out how can they no longer feel insecure on their own by whatever it is that they have to do. So I really love that. That is really great. I totally forgot about that.
That was great. That was a great thing to see on TV.
It was so awesome. And so now it's towards the end, and Yasir comes to Nuri's door. It's like 4 minutes or something before midnight, you know. And Carol, Nuri's mama, is spending the night. She came out with her, and she's like, "Oh, it's Yasir." And she's like, "Well, I ain't going home."
Right. You tried to sleep on the couch because
she's like, "Mom, I would not send you home." Like, she's like, "Okay."
Like, Mom, I'm gonna drop you off. Like, I'm gonna get you home. Like, Yasir, you stay here. I'm gonna drop my mom home because she
can't say.
Right. She ain't saying.
Yes, but he comes and he talks about just how important he is, and this day is important to her. And he has some flowers.
Super sweet.
The actual what they called them back then, record. Because
he said that they needed to have a song.
So when they ever hear it, he'll think of her and she'll think of him. And so they started dancing, and then they was like stepping.
That is so perfect. Like, I'm sure that just made her little day, because it watching it, I was like, this just the sweetest, simplest thing. That is what Valentine's Day should be. Not this extreme, like, I'm going broke and taking out loans to finance stuff. Valentine's Day needs to be sweet and specific to who you two are as a couple. Is what it should be.
And one more piece too, I forgot, is when after the single woman thing, when Carol and Nuri was in Nuri's room, and she was talking to her mama, and her mama was like, because Nuri made the comment, he's not my dad. And she was like, well, from where I'm sitting, he's a Muslim, your dad was a Muslim. It was something else that he had, but it was like Nuri's dad. And so again, that made me think of sometimes how, right, our parents have our best interests at hand, but it's like you have to trust that you've raised your kids to make the best decisions for themselves.
Absolutely. And you can't compare, my relationship to whatever happened in your relationship because we're all totally different people. But I think sometimes our parents can be fearful of that happening. Well, this person was like this person did this to me, like I don't want them to do that to you. But love is ultimately that gamble where you don't know what's going to happen, but you just have to have faith and hope that things will go in the right way. So you can't live in fear like, well, this person's gonna hurt me because this person hurt me in my past. So
and then I think if you're in that mindset, then have you truly healed from the previous relationship? So it's like you need to do some self work.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so in the end, as they're stepping, dancing, Yasir shared though before, like I hit the jackpot with you. You said like a little poem or something. Yeah. It sounded like, but then it's funny because in the distance, her mom is like peeking, and she had a smile on her face, just like,
Yep, she doing like, right.
Yeah. Yep. Like she did good.
Yeah.
And then she goes back to her room, but then it ends like that, and it ends with the older Yasir and Nuri dancing.
That was cute. I was like, they better get it. The older couple was so cute.
So watching this episode, what was your take about what love is?
I'm gonna say love is being honest. I just feel like throughout this episode, like they were still like holding stuff in from one another. So like Nuri not being honest about wanting to celebrate the holiday, or Yasir not being honest about him and his insecurities as far as like not being that man. Nuri, her insecurities about not feeling good enough to his intellectual standards. Or even Yasir not being honest with Sean about what Nuri means to him, like really being that pure person to be like, this is it, like she's everything to me. So love is honesty. You got to be honest with yourself first, and then just exuding that honesty with whoever you're with, your spouse.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, love is being selfless. And I say that because, again, in a relationship, you have to give something up of you, and not in a bad way, but it's like that's where that compromise comes. And Valentine's Day was so important to Nuri, and so for Yasir, of course, at the end to realize that, like, okay, regardless of what I feel, I have to make room for you. In my life. It's not enough for me just to plant you in my life and then you work around what I am and what I value. But it's like I have to do the same. And so it's being selfless and being honest.
Absolutely. That was good.
So we want to hear what your guys' take is. Share with us and drop comments at the bottom, or if you're listening on the podcast, because we are a podcast now. Definitely send us a message.
Yes, let us know. Let us know what you think, and be sure to follow us on social media at loveisvlogseries_. And be sure to follow my page if you want to connect with me. I'm Chanel at SinglesInTheCity_.
And I'm Lakiesha on Instagram at Lakiesha LPC.
Yes, so be sure to catch Love Is on every single Tuesday at 10/9 Central.
Yes. And we're just so excited. We can't wait to talk about next week. So, hey.
Next week episode's going to be good.
Yes, Loretta Devine. Yes, Nuri finally gets to meet y'all.
I'm ready for that. So I was just like, this is going to be explosive. So I cannot wait to talk to you guys about next week's episode. So stay tuned. Get locked in, like, subscribe, share, all of those good things.
Yes. See you.
All right, bye.